everybody, it's Jen with Caketastic Cakes, and I wanted to share with you this adorable, super cute Santa Claus cake I made. I actually made it a year ago for a website called Game Jolt, where someone designed this for me for my PFP, and it was adorable, so I turned it into a cake. If you're curious about adapting it for yourself to make an adorable Santa Claus cake, just follow along. I started with 3 layers of cake here. It's kind of hard to see, but I've got an 8-inch and then 2 6-inch tiers, and I rounded them off. And as you can see, I kind of have like a little top lump in on the top, like a cap. I've got two lumps rounded, you know, where the 2 6-inch cakes come together, and then I rounded just the one part of the bottom 8-inch cake. It's all iced, it's all buttercreamed, it's cooled, no problems there, been in the fridge. And I started with some fondant that I had made kind of a peachy creamy color, and I'm going to use that for Santa's face. And if you see me like being weird in this was actually footage from a live stream that I did. And so I am talking and I am reading the chat that's going on, and it jumps around a little bit, but it's still very cute. Okay, so I put, just as you saw, kind of like a crescent moon shape across the front. And that is going to be Santa's face. His hat and his beard is going to cover up the back. It's all going to come together in toward the sides and the back, angled together, so I don't worry about going all the way around. I'm rolling out some green fondant just to cover up the cake plate, because I felt it look more festive, really, is all it is. My cake plate was silver and had like a floral print design on it. It's a nice cake plate, but not as Christmassy as I suppose it could be. So I rolled out some green fondant that I happen to have extra of and just pinched it together in the back. And yeah, just like you would. I cut off the extra, try to smooth it down, make it look a little neater. Again, smoothing fondant is not really my strong point if you've ever followed any of my videos, and even after a full year, because this video, like I said, is about a year old. I did this last Christmas. Yeah, my skills haven't improved all that noticeably. Alright, this is just white fondant. As you can see, I've wrapped it around him like a big old bib, and you can see how I pulled it up in the back too, especially on that right side angle point of view there. And that's going to be Santa's beard. I'm just going to smooth it down and then trim off the extra. And this Santa, the PFP that was made for me, was super cute. And it was supposed to be like a Santa cake, so the icing is supposed to be all like melty and drippy, and that's why in the picture, especially in the upper right, the finished product, you can see he kind of looks melty. You don't have to do that, of course. It's just what I did because I was trying to match the picture. And also this is a year old because when I made it, it was right before Christmas, and I had so much other stuff going on that I didn't have time to edit this and put it together into any type of usable format. So yeah, here you go. Alright, I trimmed off the extra as you saw, and the bottom is rough, but not to worry because I am going to put a little border around the bottom. I'm taking some more of that white fondant again. I'm using my fondant paddle and just rolling out a nice long strip, and I'm going to create just a border with it. Wrap it around, no problems there, match it up in the back, and I'm using my paddle to just kind of flatten it a little bit, smooth it out. Again, I was the picture that I was following, and there you go. He's already, I can't even say he looks like Santa. He doesn't look like Santa yet. He just looks like lumpy and very beige and light colored. Okay, this is going to be Santa's headband, or the white strip around his hat. And you might be like, why aren't you doing the red first and then do the white, which I would normally do if, again, he wasn't supposed to have like icing melting over the top of his hat. So I'm following the picture. If you're not going to do him all icing and melty-y like I have here, which I probably wouldn't if I were just making this for a regular cake just for fun or for Christmas, I would do the red part first, but this is how I did it, so this is what you're stuck with. I put the white band around it as you saw, and again, you know, it tips down toward the back. You can see it in the lower right-hand corner. So, yeah, not worried about that creamy color in the front. Alright, I'm going to add Santa's eyes now. I picked out a circle cutter that fit inside his skin right there, and cut out 2 white pieces of fondant. I'm going to cut out the beige right there, And this way, when I put his eyes in place, they're going to recess into the cake itself. It'll be all flush with the rest of the color for his skin. And it won't be coming out at you. You know, that's going to be for his nose and his mustache, and not for his eyes. He doesn't have any thyroid issues, thank goodness. All right, I'm cutting out slightly smaller circles. Going to put my nice dark brown in there. And now he has some irises, which is cute. Yeah, he now looks kind of like, I don't know, like a ghost or something. Kind of cute, kind of like maybe someone wrapped up tight in a scarf. All right, now his hat is going on. And I only have the 2 folds of his hat. As you can see in the final picture, there's going to be 4 kind of ripples, I guess, layers of his hat. The cake itself is only 2, but that's okay. You're going to see what I'm going to do in a second. So I put the red fondant over it, and again, I'm letting it hang over the white band because that was my goal. I was trying to make him look melty. And I'm using my veining tool. It's got a nice big ball on the end of it to really accent those grooves that I made in the cake itself, to really make it, you know, humped over. If you've ever seen people make like beehive cakes, that's the kind of effect I was going for here. I'm pulling the fondant down over the white brim. Again, you know why. I'm not going to have to keep repeating myself here. And I'm just cleaning up the edges. I left them rough and choppy, but now I'm trying to smooth them out, really work it down into the crease right above the headband in order to make it really stand out more. Now for the final 2 layers of his hat, I'm just going to take a wad of fondant and make a big old fat pancake out of it, or a burger really is what it looks like. That piece was big enough, but I didn't like the angle of it, so I cut it kind of in half at an angle, so now it's sloped back. It's not quite as abrupt. And I made a teardrop on top for the top of his hat. That's it. Now for his eyes, I did the same thing as before. I cut out some black fondant. I should have cut out the holes into the brown part of the iris, but at this point I was getting a little lazy. So if you do this, do better than me. And now his nose. I made a piece of red fondant into a little ball, little oval actually. Pretty circular, flat one though. And I'm pressing it into some gold sprinkles, and this way his nose will be all shiny and sparkly. If you have some red shimmer, you could use that. If you don't have any shimmer, don't worry about it. No one says he has to have it. Again, I was following a picture that was made for me, so I was trying to do it as close as I could. I'm making his cheeks right now, so I'm taking a couple of pieces of the red fondant again and making flat red ovals out of them. And again, I'm going to press them into the red sparkles, which I don't know if you saw me do. I think I might have edited that part out, but that part I definitely dipped it in. You saw it there. And I got it a little bit wet with some water first. I kind of lightly brushed it over the top of the cheeks and nose to help it stick, and then really pressed it in so it didn't go anywhere. It came off a little bit onto his beard and the cake plate, but I used a dry paintbrush and just brushed it all off. Now as far as the mustache, I made circles, cut them in half, and then as you saw, took a nip off the one end so I could match it up to his nose. And I left the fondant a little bit thick because I ended up using the veining tool and making a couple of creases in his mustache, which I forgot to show you. So I just made 2 lines coming out from the nose straight across, you know, follow the curve a little. You see my dog's tail wagging there. She was happy for cake. So anyway, I'm very distracted. Add a little bit of water to make it stick. And the nose and the cheeks were just a little bit of water to make it stick. If you're finding you have trouble with it, you can use a lollipop stick or a piece of dried spaghetti. Always helps things stick without being toothpicks or dangerous to anybody. I put a piece of dried spaghetti in the top of his hat and put just a ball of white fondant on top of that to make the little pom-pom on his hat. And now I'm just kind of making him more melty and drippy, as you can see. I'm just taking bits of red fondant and white fondant and pressing it nice and tight against the cake at the top of the piece I'm using, and then leaving the bottom piece puffed out so it's more like a big drip coming down off of them. And I'm just kind of blending it in as much as I can here and there. I'm not worrying about the back of the cake, which, you know, if you're going to do this yourself, you might want to take more effort. I'm putting some silver sparkly beads into his hat to make him more sparkly and shiny. I'm taking some white beads at the bottom for his beard, again, just decorating him up a little bit. And I'm using some white shimmer now to give him some highlights. The white shimmer, it's an edible shimmer, and it's just white. It's not silver or anything like that. And I'm just doing it lightly, again, over the parts that I kind of want to stand out on his hat. So I'm going over the edges, like the big part of the fold of his hat, the drips, and the drips on his beard and his mustache, you know, just anywhere you feel he could use a little shimmer and shine. And by the time you're all done with it, yeah, he's super cute. Like it's not really hard to do. It's just you gotta work on that beehive layer at the beginning, which unfortunately I didn't put any footage of. I decorated the cake plate with some snowflake sparkles that I happened to have. There's the picture I was going for. There's my cake. He was so cute. Like, how cute is that, right? It makes you happy. It says Merry Christmas all over it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe because it helps me out as well. We can help each other for Christmas. And I have a ton of other videos out there, so be sure to take a look. And thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes, and Merry Christmas.